Bonjour! Welcome back to French Action and a warm welcome if you are new to this channel. Today we're going to look at how to host an online meeting in French, in particular on Zoom. However, this will work for any similar online platforms. Vous êtes prêts? C'est parti! Let's look at some online events, starting with an atelier, which is a workshop, un atelier, un cours en ligne, which is a class, an online class, un webinaire, a webinar, une réunion périodique. So this is a recurring meeting, which we can have on Zoom. Une réunion is a meeting. Donc, une réunion périodique, a recurring meeting. So, if you use Zoom, you would be very familiar with this page. And we have here new meeting, and that would be une nouvelle réunion. Schedule a meeting would be programmer une réunion. Programmer une réunion. And join a meeting would be rejoindre la réunion or se joindre à la réunion. And then with the ID, it will be avec un identifiant. So, animer une réunion is to host a meeting. So, if you conjugate the verb, it's going to give you j'anime une réunion. I am hosting a meeting. But how do you say a host? Now, on Zoom, some translations would be hôte, and I've seen it, but particularly in Canada, but in France, it's really animateur. Je suis l'animateur or je suis l'animatrice. Animateur for a male and animatrice for a female. And if you want to say, I'm going to start a meeting, you're going to say, je vais démarrer une réunion. The verb démarrer is the same, it's really the same verb we use for to start a car. Démarrer une voiture. So you're going to say, je vais démarrer une réunion. I added une séance because if it's a class, you're not going to use the word réunion, which is really meeting. You may want to use a background and a virtual one. How do you say that in French? You can say un fond d'écran virtuel or un arrière-plan virtuel. Now, you will see that very often I will give you two translations because there's in fact two things. There's Zoom's software, you know, it's got its own translation, and I've noticed that there's a difference between the French Zoom and the French-Canadian Zoom, and you have what people actually say. Another expression for online classes, I'm sure you've seen les cours en ligne, but there's also another expression which is used a lot in France, is les cours en distanciel. Some more vocabulary for you. So follow the arrow. For the microphone, you could say activer le micro. Okay, so if you say it to your students or to your participants, you're going to say activer using the EZ. Activer le micro. And for the camera, activer la vidéo. And then if you want to record, you're going to say enregistrer la séance or enregistrer la réunion. Something which is very useful on Zoom and other online platforms is le partage d'écran, which is sharing your screen. Le partage d'écran. So the verb is partager, IR at the end, partager son écran. Let's go through les instructions. So you'd say, je vais partager l'écran, or je vais partager mon écran. Either could work. I am going to share my screen. And you could ask, est-ce que vous voyez le document? Or, est-ce que vous voyez mon écran? Can you see the document? Can you see my screen? Other useful instructions. Arrêtez de partager votre écran. If, for example, your participant is sharing, arrêtez de partager votre écran. Stop sharing. Coupez votre micro. Mute. And faites le sondage. Do the poll. Because on some platforms, you can have access to a poll. And when you are going to give the instructions, that's what you could say. Faites le sondage. If you look at the bottom, you will see les émoticônes. Let's go through them. I just would like to focus on those three. Levez la main, raise hand. Levez la main pour demander la parole. Demander la parole is really asking to say something. So, levez la main pour demander la parole. And then, of course, when you've raised your hand, you need to lower it. And that is baisser la main. And I do say baisser. It's a se sound. Baisser la main. And if you want to say that, you know, it's good, you like what you see, is lever le pouce. Lever le pouce. I have selected some instructions. I hope that you're happy with them. Cliquez sur le lien. To click on the link. Vous pouvez copier-coller. Copier-coller is copy and paste. Vous pouvez copier-coller. You may copy and paste. Another instruction. Posez vos questions dans le chat. Or, posez vos questions dans la messagerie. Donc, posez vos questions dans le chat ou dans la messagerie is really asking your participants to ask questions in the chat. You could ask your participants to send you a message privately. Envoyez-moi un message en privé. And then you could give them the floor. Je vous donne la parole. Les salles. The rooms. So in Zoom, you have la salle d'attente, which is the waiting room. And you have the possibility of having breakout rooms. And these are salles privées. However, when you talk about breakout rooms, you're not going to say, allez dans les salles privées. Very often when I was in webinars, they used group. So, créer des groupes is basically to create the breakout rooms. Okay? So you could say, rejoignez votre groupe or rejoignez votre salle, join your breakout room. So it's not always seen as a room, but more as a group, because you are really trying to put people together in a room, and this works very well in a teaching context, teaching environment. So as the host, you're going to créer des groupes, and you can see the breakout rooms right at the bottom. And then some expressions, il faut rejoindre le groupe. I've just talked about that. But I've also heard la salle plénière. that was more in a conference. So if you have a conference online, people may refer to the main room as la salle plénière, or also la salle principale. So for example, you could say revenez dans la salle plénière dans 10 minutes, ou revenez dans la salle principale dans 10 minutes. Another useful expression is to make host. If we were to translate word for word, we wouldn't get it. But this is what I've heard. Je donne le rôle d'animateur. So you would say, je vous donne le rôle d'animateur if you're talking to the person. Or you would say, je donne le rôle d'animateur à Monsieur X or Madame X. And to co-host is co-animer. Les captures d'écran. I'm sure you've noticed that I used a lot of capture d'écran, screenshots. And before you end your meeting, you may want to send a file, which is envoyer un fichier, or télécharger something, which is to download. Very useful vocabulary. Your meeting or your class is over, but you may want to leave to come back, and in this case it would be quitter la réunion. But if your meeting is definitely over, it's going to be end meeting for all, and it would be mettre fin à la réunion pour tous. It's a bit long, but that's the way it is. Mettre fin à la réunion pour tous. We've come to the end of this video, and I hope that you really enjoyed it and found it useful. So please like it. And you know, the more the likes, the better it is for the video so that it can be viewed on YouTube. And if you can share it, it will be even better. And of course, don't forget to subscribe. Au revoir.